national identification system is expected eventually to be the dominant, if not the main, identification for Jamaicans.
Access to your data must be initiated by you.
Conversation on what you need to know about the National Identification System continues right after our news package. We'll also share some critical information on trafficking in persons.
A person behaving unusually timid is one of the classic signs of someone being trafficked.
I'm Adrian Atkinson, and you're watching Jamaica Magazine.
Looking to enhance your professional skills and competencies with training of the highest quality? Then apply today to the Justice Training Institute, JTI. JTI offers certificate courses in computer applications, CSEC Math and English, financial crimes investigation, courtroom protocols and procedures, diplomas in paralegal studies, court reporting, and more. For more information, call 928-4624, visit us at 4 Camp Road, or go to the website jti.edu.jm. The Justice Training Institute, training for improved performance.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, July 6. Jamaica is now a signatory to the agreement establishing the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, CCRE. Prime Minister Andrew Holness signed the agreement earlier today as he participated in Day 2 of the 38th regular meeting of the Conference of the Heads of Government of CARICOM. With the signing, Jamaica joins other small island developing states in the move to advance sustainable energy issues and solutions. Meanwhile, at the first plenary session of the CARICOM meeting, Mr. Holness called for urgent action on the implementation of the Caribbean single market and economy. The CSME allows for the free movement of people and goods within the regional grouping, which would see to the full integration of the Caribbean. While some amount of trade has been facilitated, the free movement of people, in particular skilled labor, has been a sticking point for some CARICOM members. This, as the smaller member states have raised concerns about inflows from larger member states. But Mr. Holness reasoned that though an implementation plan was in place, the issue of the movement of skilled workers needed to be moved up on the agenda and fast-tracked. The Prime Minister's views were shared with JIS News by Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith.
Jamaica's position is that this is something that has been on the books for 7 to 10 years, meaning heads decided on it 7 to 10 years ago, depending on the particular issue. And we think that really if member states are committed to implementing then and committed to ensuring that our people experience CSME in a way that is real and important to them, then the movement of skilled workers is something that should be moved up in the implementation plan.
The Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC, is hoping to complete by month-end verification of claims submitted by motorists who were affected by contaminated gasoline in late 2015. CAC's chairman, Kent Gammon, says the commission is reviewing 382 claims.
The 382 figure, however, does not represent the total number of bad gas complaints, as not all have submitted the relevant information, or it may have come in after April 8th, the 2016 deadline.
Mr. Gammon was speaking on Wednesday at the CAC's quarterly media briefing. He said a special technical committee had completed verification of 224 or 60% of the claims received. The committee is headed by representatives of the Island Traffic Authority and includes personnel from the Heart Trust NTA and Jamaican German Automotive School. The CAC is seeking approximately $32 million in compensation on behalf of the affected consumers from petroleum marketing companies whose stations were identified as the locations where the gasoline was sourced. National Housing Trust loan applicants can now benefit from improvements in home grants and financing for NHD scheme solutions. Since July 1, the Trust is offering qualified contributors the full amount required to buy NHD units, provided that they can afford the monthly loan payments. At the same time, NHD contributors with a disability who are certified by the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities and are earning up to $30,000 weekly will borrow at a rate of 0%. The NHD will also provide a grant of $150,000 to mortgagors with disabilities or those who reside with and care for a family member who is disabled to retrofit or upgrade their dwellings. Additionally, low-income contributors earning below $12,000 weekly and who are contributing for over 7 years will now be able to access up to $2.5 million for an NHD home grant. Meanwhile, the NHD has partnered with credit unions to implement a housing microfinance loan program. Contributors earning $30,000 or less per week will be able to access credit of up to $1.5 million to help meet their housing needs. The first agreement under the partnership was signed on Friday with the Community and Workers of Jamaica Cooperative Credit Union. Agreements with other credit unions are to follow. Under the partnership, funds will be made available for on-lending to current and new contributors to repair or improve their existing homes or build their own homes. Contributors will be able to borrow up to $1.5 million over time, with interest rates of 6% for secured loans and 9% for unsecured loans. These NHD policy changes were announced by Prime Minister Andrew Holness during his 2017-2018 budget presentation in March. In other housing news, the Housing Agency of Jamaica, HAJ, presented 3 of its beneficiaries with titles for house lots at its Boscobel View scheme at a recent handing over ceremony. Member of Parliament Robert Montego urged others to make the effort to complete their payments so that they too could receive their titles.
You get an opportunity to pay for it little, and those who are working NHT has come on board and say, "We will lend you the money, and you pay for it, and we lend you money to build your house."
Over 80 persons have so far received titles for lots inside the development, which the HAJ began regularizing 8 years ago. And finally, hundreds of Jamaicans paid their last respects to former Senator and Minister of Government, Ambassador Carlisle Dunley, at the official Thanksgiving service held yesterday. The funeral was attended by several political leaders and government representatives. In her tribute, Kimberly Dunkley said her father was a man of integrity with an unwavering commitment to excellence.
Growing up, he held all of us to very high standards. Some we thought we may never meet, but for one thing was for sure, we weren't allowed to give up.
Mr. Dunkley, who died on June 21, served Jamaica for more than 40 years in various posts. He held the positions of Cabinet Minister, Deputy President of the Senate, and former President of the NWU. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica. Original.
The government is moving towards implementing a national identification system NIDS that will become the primary source for identity assurance and verification of all Jamaican citizens. The NIDS will establish a reliable and accurate database and provide each individual with a legal identity. Citizens by birth or persons ordinarily resident in Jamaica will be issued a National Identification Number NIN and a National Identification Card.
A NIN is from cradle to death. Upon death, it is retired in the system, but it is never used again for anyone else.
To receive this card and facilitate the data collection process, persons will be asked to provide key information. Information required includes your name, date of birth, address, email, and phone number. In addition, your photograph and fingerprint will be taken. The biographic and biometric information are mandatory for the identity verification database. However, it's voluntary for individuals to provide information on their place of employment, profession, family status, education, and religion. So what will not be collected?
DNA will not be collected. Let me just mention quickly that financial information will not be collected either. Political affiliation and sexual orientation is omitted, and it states so in the bill.
The following documents will be required where applicable once enrollment begins in September 2018.
If somebody refuses to sign up for the NIS, there won't be a penalty in the sense that there is no punitive measures outlined in the bill that is before Parliament.
The National Identification Card will display your name, nationality, place and date of birth, and address. The card will also bear a unique 9-digit number. The numbers will be randomly selected and bear no relation to your date of birth or sex. The 9 digits are in keeping with the same number of digits in the tax registration number TRN, and also to fit into systems that are already configured to accommodate 9 digits.
We wanted to facilitate a situation where there would not be this enormous retrofitting.
The initial ID is free, and if you do lose your ID, there will be a cost to replace it initially.
The National Identification System will give the government an authoritative position to be able to identify its citizens. It will also provide accurate data for national planning, eliminate multiple government-issued IDs, and create a shared data system within ministries, departments, and agencies of government. NIDS will seek to eliminate multiple identities and identity theft, strengthen immigration and border control, and ensure public and national safety. It will also improve the country's international standing and credibility.
Once we put this in and all of us have our national identification numbers and cards, there is no question who we are. So when you're doing business with an overseas entity or locally, it is giving us as the people of Jamaica and the country far more credibility in the international sphere.
The benefits to citizens are many. In addition to the one ID, one identity, it will enable better delivery of service by the state and the private sector.
If you look at countries who are progressing and are trying to move into the digital age and give better service to their citizens, you have to, as a criteria, have a way of identifying your citizens. For example, how many people need welfare in this particular parish? How many kids need PATH? Is there duplication among people accessing government benefits? Is there a better way of assessing the people in a particular area in terms of are they accessing enough benefits? So that is the idea. So it's a holistic development of doing business, making it easier to do business, giving you a confirmed identity.
And what of the private sector? A key component is that it will support the Know Your Customer requirements for banks and other businesses.
This is going to enhance that tremendously and allow them to have better, be able to negotiate with their correspondent bankers much better.
As for the benefits to the government of Jamaica, this range from efficiency and cost savings to simplified documentation, streamlining of business processes, and facilitating the public sector modernization process.
The project is a national identification system project, but it's going to have a huge positive impact in the re-engineering of a lot of processes within the government of Jamaica, and as a result, make us far more efficient.
But what are the security measures that will be put in place to protect the national identification system? One is that the information captured will be secured and stored on a national civil and identification database. The experts will take it from here.
We are putting in place fit-for-purpose data, security, and usage policies. We are also putting in place fit-for-purpose, based on international standards, physical security to protect our data center. Our data, let me say our data will be stored in the government of Jamaica data center.
So we are spending a lot of money, there's a lot of infrastructure being put in place, and we are ensuring that all access to data is managed, is audited, and is controlled.
The National Identification and Registration Authority Bill NERA, which is now before the House of Representatives, has also included provision for penalties if breaches or abuse of data do occur.
The bill is very clear, and the bill has a section that focuses on the punitive measures that the government will take, up to $4 million and 4 years in prison if you abuse the data especially for persons working within the database management organization.
Some things you should note are that
access to your data must be initiated by you.
The agencies cannot go on the system and download. You can't browse my information. If I am, my data is on the system, nobody can go and browse on and see what is there. The police cannot access the data without a court order, and that is in the bill. And external agencies and foreign governments cannot just go and access the information.
the Registrar General's Department will be transformed into the new authorized body to administer the National Identification System. The name will be changed to the National Identification and Registration Authority, NIRA, and will fall under the Office of the Prime Minister.
The functions of the RGD, that is the civil registry, will continue within NIRA, and then NIRA also has the responsibility for identity management.
A national rollout of the National Identification System is expected for April 2019.
And we are confident that when the project is implemented, all of our lives will be better and more secure and safer.
As people come onto the system, as the system becomes more trustworthy, as Jamaicans develop more confidence in the system, the policymakers will eventually move to a point where it becomes one ID.
We feel honestly that it's going to be a game changer in a positive way for Jamaica.
Jamaica has maintained its Tier 2 ranking in the 2017 Trafficking in Persons report. This is due to several measures being undertaken by the government to eliminate the practice. The country has secured 2 convictions, prosecuting 9 cases against 13 alleged offenders and investigating 40 potentially new cases. The awareness campaign never ends, and the JIS is using this medium to help everyone identify the red flags of human trafficking.
Michelle, what's Shana doing now like how she leaves school?
Nothing. Song for me every day. But a man promise a job of foreign. Them a look about paperwork and everything, even visa and passport.
What's she going up there to do? Who she going to stay with? You're going to get a number for her that you can contact her?
When I ask the man, him says stop her myself.
I don't like the sound of this, Michelle. Might not take them one, take away your picnic. You ever hear about human trafficking?
Trafficking?
Or trafficking in persons, the same thing. Why you watch that video here? See if it's it them go and do it, Shana.
Alright. But I'm afraid to die.
Trafficking in persons by law is a criminal offense. Those who perpetrate this crime usually do so in unsuspecting ways. It could be a friendly invitation to another part of the island or another country, or even through enticing job offers. Persons who get caught up in this web aren't necessarily naive individuals, but human traffickers are sophisticated criminals who put a lot of thought into disguising their nefarious intents.
Not all persons who promise a job, etc. overseas after graduation can deliver or plan to deliver. So what they do is lure them into thinking that there's a better life somewhere else. And persons will respond to it. What they'll do is that they pay the ticket and they'll invite you up. Once you're there, they take your passports and then you're placed in servitude.
It is at this helpless stage that victims are forced into unpaid labor or prostitution. The best way to get out of these situations is not to enter them in the first place. So the authorities are cautioning persons to be more vigilant.
You are not supposed to be able to get a visa without your attending or that your parents, if you're a minor, right? So nobody is supposed to be able to legitimately give you a passport with a valid visa without you're having gone through that process.
Before you even reach that stage, you should try to get answers to some very important questions once an offer has been made to you. Ask, where am I going? Where will I be staying? Who will be responsible for me? And what do I tell my family?
If you cannot give that information out of this encounter that you're offered, if you cannot give that information that can be checked, then you ought not to take it on.
I don't know where I am. They've taken all that I had.
Doreen, I'm glad you showed me this video. It made me want to ask the man more questions because I can't let him take Sean. I don't know where she gone.
I'm glad you understand the signs of trafficking in persons. But keep watching more information in the program.
Statistics across the world have revealed that women and children are more vulnerable to human trafficking. However,
we see young, bright males, young, bright females, university graduates. We have people from difficult circumstances, people in the main who have been tricked, so it varies.
I also think any person who doesn't have sufficient information so that they can assess an offer that is being made to them is vulnerable as well.
to protect all its citizens, the government has intensified its public awareness campaign. Persons are being given information to guard themselves and others against this crime.
We're going to be giving out some business card size facts on trafficking to the workers in the sector who would be exposed. Customs, immigration, the police. So at a moment you get into your pocket and you have the facts, is this what I'm seeing?
We can identify persons being trafficked by certain behaviors being displayed. A person behaving unusually timid is one of the classic signs of someone being trafficked.
Persons who are leaning onto this adult, not like a parent-child kind of arrangement, but it's almost like you're kidnapped, but you are afraid to let anybody know that this is your situation. And we have to look out for those people who are moving around with no confidence.
I like when the government send out information to the people. It's stuck in my head. From now on, I'm not taking anything for granted. And so show me the video.
No problem, man. We have to share information. This is one way of ending the cycle.
This information-based strategy by the government is a cooperative approach with citizens that seeks to preserve and enhance a secure and protective environment for all. Now that we have the information, let us use it to our advantage. Our main source of protection against the trafficking in persons is to be aware of the offense.
On our roads, remember, take time, be courteous, drive good, walk good. Part of keeping our roads safe is ensuring the vehicles we drive are mechanically safe, meeting all roadworthy requirements. And besides that, we must be good drivers and avoid risk-taking and sensation-seeking behaviors which are prone to causing road crashes.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness was speaking at a function recently, and he emphasized the point that for us as a country to achieve sustained social intervention in communities, citizens have to choose to live peacefully. Mr. Holness went further to share strategies of the government in this regard.
You would have seen in the media the great debate about the new crime bill that we have put in Parliament, a bill designed to give a legal framework for special intervention measures in communities. Unfortunately, the first half of the debate focused primarily on the police intervention, the use of force to intervene in communities. But the bill itself does not rest entirely on the use of the police force. There is actually another side to the bill which speaks to creating a framework for sustained social intervention in communities. And that, I believe, will be the key to the successful intervention and transformation of communities that are gripped by crime and violence. What we plan to do is to implement a strategy which is not new. It's used all over the world. It's called Clear, Build, and Hold. For social intervention to work, there has to be peace. So, in the initial stages, the security forces will have to go in and establish a period of peace. But the security forces can't sustain peace, and that is a very important lesson. So we will be declaring certain high crime areas, zones of special operations, where the security forces will go in to establish the rule of law. This is not an incursion, it is not an invasion. It is merely an operation of presence. And states can't exist by merely having an overwhelming security presence. States can't afford that. States exist because their citizens don't have the overwhelming propensity to seek to commit crimes. So the strategy of the government is we're going in, we're going to reduce the capacity, we're going to cut off the opportunity, but that is not sustainable. What is sustainable is when the citizens themselves choose to live peacefully. And that is long term. That won't happen overnight. That really comes down to what we believe. What is our faith? What is our doctrine of life? What do we believe as a country about each other as citizens? I'm almost trying to avoid to say it comes down to our spirituality. It comes down to our religious beliefs and how we live man to man. So we will be looking at creative ways of delivering these kinds of social intervention services, counseling, and the like, in the areas of special operations. And I believe that the strategy that we are putting in place will have an effect on the crime rate. It will bring down the murder rate in particular. It is not the only strategy we are employing, but it is one tool in the toolkit.
That's all the time we have for you today, but another program comes your way tomorrow. Until then, just click on our website, jis.gov.jm, to stay connected. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.